All right, we are doing a little review for chapter 2, but we're not covering everything. So slope-intercept form, what is it? Y equals mx plus b. What is m? M is the slope. And when you think about slope, what are you thinking about? Rise over run. That's what we're talking about when we graph it. Rise, so the change in y over the change in x, the run. All right, what does the b stand for? The y-intercept. Okay, tell me more about the y-intercept if we're thinking about graphing it. It crosses the y-axis, but if I'm graphing it, this is my starting point, right? My starting point, and where is my starting point? On the starting point on y-axis. Make sure you put it on the right axis. All right, what is standard form? ax plus by equals c. We're not really doing much with standard form. However, you have a lot of problems given to you in standard form. So we can use this and find our x and y intercepts, or we could solve for y equals mx plus b. All right, point slope form. Only one person that knows this. Y minus y1 equals? Okay. So you need, these are the things we're going to plug in. We use point slope form to write our equations of line. I need the slope, and I need one ordered pair in order to write the equation of the line. Now, some of you are also using the y equals mx plus b to write your equation. I don't care which form you use as long as you're doing it correctly. Just remember, when you're doing point slope form, they're minus signs. Okay, given two ordered pairs, what is your slope formula? Okay, so it is the change in y. So we find the difference, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And that means you were given two ordered pairs, x1, y1 and x2, y2. So given the two ordered pairs, we find the difference in y and the difference in x. All right, tell me the two facts you know about the x-intercept. Give me one thing out of the two. Okay, it's always on the x-axis. And what was the other thing I heard? The y0. So when you talk about an ordered pair, the y value is 0. And we're looking for x. We call that x value a. But yep, y is always 0. All right, well, y-intercept is on the y-axis. And if I'm asking for the y-intercept, I'm looking for ordered pairs. And what do you know about the ordered pair? X is 0, and we're looking for the y value that we call b. All right, so let's put some of these rules to work. This review is more focusing on just the graphs and writing equations. So there's still other content for chapter 2, but we're just focusing on this. Tell me what you know about vertical lines. Okay, what's a vertical line look like? Show me with your arm. Which way does it go? Okay, up and down. Yep. So if I drew a vertical line right here, tell me about it. Okay, what's undefined? Slope is undefined. It's not no solution. It's undefined because the rise is 1 and the run is 0. And then how would you write the equation of this line? I heard it, but I didn't hear quite the equation. Has to be x equals -3. So remember, this cuts through the x-axis. That's how I remember it's x equals. X is always -3. So if you want the general equation, it's x equals a. Remember, a is that x-intercept. So it's always x equals a. Is that blurry? There it goes. All right, now tell me about a horizontal line. Cuts through the y-axis. It looks like this. So like the horizon. Okay. So if I drew this, what is the slope of a horizontal line? 0. It's like not going up. So you're on a treadmill and you have not changed the incline. So the incline is 0. What would be the equation of the line I drew? It's y equals 2. And I like that you said earlier it cuts through the y-axis. So this is always me y equals that value, and that's the y-intercept b. Okay. Oh, I said graph using x and y-intercepts, but I didn't write the equation. Give me 2 seconds. I know, I can't be perfect. All right, here we are. Here is the equation. It is x minus 2y equals 6. So I want you to graph this using x and y intercepts. All right, well, we just talked about x and y intercepts, right? So tell me what we do with the x-intercept. We know it's on the x-axis. So the y is going to be 0. Guys, you're taking that 0 and plugging it in. X minus 2 times 0 equals 6. That's going to wipe it out. X is positive 6. That's 1 point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put that point at 6, 0. All right, now find me the y-intercept. What do you know? It's on the y-axis and the x value is 0. Take your 0 and plug it in. The whole purpose of using these is it's quick because the 0 cancels it out. We're left with negative 2y equals 6. Divide, and what's y equal? Negative 3. All right, so graph that at 0, negative 3, and then sketch in your line. Now, if it was an inequality, we'd have to do dash and solid. We have to shade. I'm not really reviewing inequalities today, but this goes hand in hand, so same idea. What? Well, this isn't an inequality, so we wouldn't shade anything. But we can talk about that when you do your review. Okay, these should be pretty quick. We just talked about them in detail. I want you to graph it, identify the slope, and is it horizontal or vertical? I mean, that's a big tip if it's horizontal or vertical, so now you know it's a special line. All right, I know I'm not giving you much time. Number 2 here, horizontal or vertical? Vertical, because it's cutting through the x-axis at negative 5. Okay, what is the slope of the line? That one's undefined. And we identified that it was vertical. Okay, second one. I mean, these should be 3 points on the test because they're that quick, but they're not quick if you flip them up or blank out. All right, horizontal or vertical? Horizontal because it cuts through the y-axis at negative 2. So there is my horizontal line. What is the slope of that guy? Slope is 0. All right, don't get them mixed up. Cuts through the x-axis, cuts through the y-axis. All right, moving on. Here's the part that I'm concerned with. Because if you don't know how to do this, then there's like 4 problems you can't do. I'm going to give you a problem that has the slope and a point. I'm going to give you a problem where you have to find the slope or the parallel perpendicular. They all come down to the same thing. So I have given you M and an ordered pair. Agreed? Now, there's 2 methods to doing this. The method we've been using is point slope form. What is point slope form? Y minus equals times minus x1. So here is your x1 and y1. You only need 1 point in the slope to do this. I don't know why this keeps. See if that helps. Okay, so I need to plug in my y value, my m, and my x. That's what I'm plugging in. If you label everything, it just goes right in. So if you see this, it's quick, and you can get this, and it's the same thing every time. But if you don't see where these numbers are coming from, I can understand why you're lost. Do we see what we're plugging into here? To use point slope form, you need a point. We have it. You need a slope. So watch your minus signs. It's going to be y minus what? Y minus y, which is 5, equals, what's my slope? Then times in parentheses, x minus what? Okay, see that minus a negative? That's where I'm concerned. What do we do when we have minus a negative? Add. Are you stretching or asking? Okay. Okay, that's point slope form. I'm not really going to ask you that on the test, but we're using it to get to y equals. So what do I do to solve for slope intercept? Before I add the 5, distribute the negative 2. Watch your signs. So y minus 5 equals negative 2x minus 6. Agreed? Now we would add the 5. I agree. And my equation is y equals negative 2x minus 1. That's what we're doing. Now we're going to do that 3 more times. The difference is, where does your slope come from? Are we okay with what we just did there? Okay. We spent a couple days on this because we did part 1 where it was just this type, and then we did part 2, which were parallel perpendicular. Okay. You need to do that. You need slope. Here's my point slope form. I need slope in an ordered pair. I have 2 ordered pairs. So what do I need? Well, I'm going to choose one of them to do this, but before I can do anything, what do I need? I need to find the slope. What was that slope formula? y2 minus. So the change in y over the change in x. Now, if it helps you, there's no shame in helping your brain. Label this x1, y1, x2, and y2. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to find the slope. I'm going with the 6 first. So it's going to be 6 minus what? Negative 2. So that double negative sign. And then I'm going to start with 3 minus what? Negative 5. All right, are we getting 8 over 8? So what is my slope? Okay, now that I have the slope, I'm going to rewrite that. M is 1, and then you pick. Which ordered pair do you want to use? It does not matter. So I'd pick this because I don't have negative signs. If one of them had a fraction, I'd pick the one without a fraction, the smaller numbers. But you could pick either. We'll get the same final answer. So let's plug it in. Just sort of boxing this off here. Y minus what? 6 equals m, which is 1, times x minus 3. That's point slope form, but we want slope intercept. So when you distribute the 1, what happens? I keep the x minus 3 and then add 6. So y equals x plus 3. So we had to do an extra problem to get to that. You want to show this work because if your slope is wrong, then obviously everything else won't be right. However, I would look at your mechanics and see, did you plug in what you had? Did you do all the work right? Okay, move on. I think we have 2 more. Oh, I did not do a good job with that. Okay, I'm funny. Sorry. I didn't finish the problem. Oh, all right. So write down your directions and we'll fill it in here. That's what I get for doing it last minute. Oh no. Hold on, I'm getting there. What? None. Okay, so we have a line parallel to 5x minus 6y equals 18, and I want it to go through the point 6, negative 1. Okay, let's talk about this. This point has nothing to do with that line. I need you to understand that. If you graph this line, this point is not on it. If you take 6, negative 1 and plug it in there, that's 30 minus 6. It is not 18, folks. I'm going to say it again. This point has nothing to do with that line. This is my anchor point, and I'm going to use it. Why am I giving you this equation? Like, what's the point of me giving you that equation? Okay, let's go back to the beginning. I made my directions very short since I hand wrote it, but I want a line parallel to this line that goes through this point. Tell me what you know about parallel lines. Same what? Same slope. Okay, so if I want a line parallel, then I want to find the slope so I can use it. Do you know the slope of the line that I gave you? No, because this is in standard form, so what do I need to do? Solve for slope intercept form. Okay, so this is the same problem as this guy, but here I gave you slope and a point. Here I'm making you use the relationship to this line being parallel to what we want to find the slope and then use your point. We're going to do the same thing, but we've got to do a little prep before that. So off to the side here, I'm going to solve this for y equals mx plus b. Now, you don't have to rewrite it. I'm going to. I need to solve for y, so subtract 5x. Now, the order you choose to put this in is up to you. I'm doing negative 5x plus 18. You could have 18 minus 5x. Oh, that would probably be better. All right, now what do I need to do? Divide by negative 6. Okay, so watch your signs. Divide each piece. That cancels. Y equals what? Positive 5, 6x minus 3. What do I want from this line? I only want the slope. M is 5, 6. That's all I want. I don't want the y-intercept. So what's the slope parallel to that? If your slope is 5, 6, your parallel line, we said, same slope, 5, 6. What's the anchor point that I gave you? 6, negative 1. Now do the same thing. Find me the equation of your line.
Why do you divide it by negative? Why do you divide the slope by negative 6? I thought you don't divide the slope.
You divide everything. What you do to one side, you do to the other. So some people show when they do this.
Like on the other problem, if you don't divide by.
I didn't have to divide. Okay, because I was not putting this in the equation. I'm solving this for y equals mx plus b. Don't confuse that with the other part here. Hold on, let me pause. Okay, did you guys get it?
Yeah.
It should be y minus what?
Negative 1.
It's going to be minus a negative 1. So I heard someone say plus. And then 5, 6 times x minus 6. Okay, now that I have that, I'll clean that up, and I'm going to distribute my 5, 6. If you need to use a calculator, do it. But 5, 6 times minus 6, the 6's would cancel. I get minus 5. And then you subtract 1. So y equals 5, 6x minus 6. That should be our equation.
Okay, wait. Why do you guys do all this? Why do we have to do like cars in the blue color?
I want the line to be, what's this symbol? What's that symbol? I want it to be perpendicular to this equation, and I want it to go to through the line for negative 3. Okay, so let's talk about this. In order to do a line that's perpendicular, I need to know the slope. Agreed?
Yeah.
Do you know the slope of the line that I gave you?
No, so I have to find it.
So you're going to have to solve for y. It's in standard form. We need to solve for y. So this is where I'm sort of doing a problem before I can do this problem, right? I mean, you are required to do y equals mx plus b to graph. So we're doing that now. Minus 2x, negative 5y equals negative 2x plus 35. And so if I need to get y by itself, the only way to find slope by looking at the equation is if you have y equals mx plus b.
Can't we just stop? We only have to subtract the 35. I mean, divide the 35.
Okay, I'm really interested in the slope, but just for good measure. It doesn't hurt us to practice. Hey, it doesn't hurt us to practice this because there's other times where I just ask you to graph this. So let's just get in the habit of doing the whole thing. But yes, all I really want from here is the slope. Okay, if my slope is 2/5 and I want a line perpendicular to it, what's the rule for perpendicular? So you said 5 over 2, but you have to change two things. Okay, negative 5 over 2. So when you have the slope, your perpendicular line, the slope is going to be, what are the words?
Oh,
Opposite reciprocal. Change the sign, flip your fractions. Okay, now I need you to understand, ladies and gentlemen, if your slope is 2/5 and I want it to be perpendicular, my new slope is negative 5/2. I do not come back to this. Then it's y minus what? Negative 3 equals negative 5/2 times x minus 4. Okay, so do we see that we're doing the same thing? It's just where I get my slope from. So y plus 3 equals negative 5/2 x plus 10. Now, guys, I just took 2 and 4 and canceled it, and I had the leftover 2. You can use a calculator. Subtract 3.
5 times 4 and then
Just
Yeah,
divide by 2.
that's fine.
okay.
All right, there it is. I subtracted the 3. That is my line that is perpendicular to the given line, goes through that anchor point. Okay, what did we not review? We didn't review inequalities. We didn't review word problems. And we did not go back into just solving equations. But I wanted to talk about our graphs and our lines.